I was thinking about how hard my last 2 to 3 weeks have been, how much conflict, how much stress, how much pressure. Hey Snapchat, I wanted to talk today about an important topic, which is mental health. I know for most startups, it's very easy to think that once other people have become senior in their careers, they no longer have to deal with this level of stress or pressure. And of course, that's not true. It never ends. The more senior you get, just the more problems you're dealing with, truthfully. And I realized something very important about myself that I'd never really quite thought of until this morning. I'm certainly not claiming to be perfect, but I think one of my strengths is the ability to compartmentalize. I can take something really shitty going on in my life or professional world and put it in a little box and emotionally move on. It's not that I don't need to deal with it, I just don't need to let it overwhelm me. I can contain it. I don't take this for granted. I don't think that everybody can do this, but I think it's a unique skill set, and if you can do it, it can be really helpful and productive. So I had a bit of a shit sandwich yesterday, and last week was really rough if you follow me. And I woke up at 4:30 this morning. And rather than staying pissed off about all the shitty things that happened yesterday, I just decided today is going to be a better day. So I sat at my computer. I didn't get down to my computer till like 5 a.m. And I just decided I'm going to work on a bunch of positive things I want to get done. I think 90+% of this is just like pre-wiring in your brain. I'm just lucky that my brain is wired that way. Some of it comes from my mom. My mom, from very early in my childhood, taught me never to hold a grudge against people. I'm a fighter. I get in fights, no problem. But once the fight's done, I put it behind me. I never hold a grudge. And the thing about being an entrepreneur is about constantly being kicked in the face, constantly having setbacks. And you have to come in the office every day and you can't fake it, because if you yourself don't feel motivated, your team will see it. Remember that 90% of all communication is nonverbal. If you feel stressed and act stressed, it'll show. You almost need cognitive dissonance. You need to be able to separate what's really going on in your life and be able to pretend it's just a game. I remember in my first startup thinking that way. We had like 2 months cash left, and I just played a game with myself that for sure we're not going to run out of cash. I'm sure there's some way we're going to solve this problem. I'm not going to stop until I solve this problem. And of course, if I didn't find a solution, one day I would have been bankrupt and I would have had to deal with it at the time that I had to deal with it. The main point I want to make is that I chose not to let it overwhelm me. And you can't let it bleed out to your staff or even often to your investors. If you're a person who needs to emote and talk to other people, find a peer group. I used to form a group of other CEOs, and I found one really interesting thing. I was always the person who opened up first and told people the problems I had going on that I was trying to solve. And I found that the more that I shared, the more that other people opened up. And once we realized that we were all going through the same journey and dealing with the same problem, it made life much easier, because I knew that I wasn't special on the downside. Like, it wasn't just me having this problem. And I've even started to do this as a VC. I took over as managing partner in 2011. And I didn't know the first thing about how other VC firms were run. What problems did they have with employment or carry or their investors or their investments? So I started speaking to VC mentors of mine or peers of mine and opening up a little bit about some of the challenges or things that I'm trying to manage better. I found the more that I opened up, the more that people opened up with me, and I learned that we're all also on the same journey. I have family members in my extended life who have problems, mild problems with depression. And I know that I was just blessed not to be born that way. I think your brain chemistry is your brain chemistry. Figure out how you're wired. Figure out how to be your best self. For me, my downside is ADD. I talk about a lot on my blog, Both Sides of the Table. I've figured out how to channel my ADD and turn it into a positive. I surround myself with people who are completer finishers, which is important for people with ADD, and I've learned to control my food intake. But anyway, since I've had a rather stressful 2 weeks, I just thought I'd share with you that we're all on the same journey together. And if you have the chemical makeup that allows it, try to find ways to take your problem, compartmentalize, put them in a box, don't let it affect you, and come back to those problems later when you have the mental energy for them. I have one other tip. Try your best not to deal with super big conflict or big problems last thing at night. When I know I have a really big problem to solve, I try my best just to put it out of my mind past 10 p.m. If you go to bed thinking about an issue, you're not going to sleep well, and it's going to create more internal stress for you. That's why if I really need to unwind, I'll watch a comedy show or try to pick up a drama late at night just to go to bed not thinking about the day's problems. Well, this has been a random stream of consciousness. I know that. I hope some of you find solace in knowing we're all on the same journey.